officials were struggling mightily. I mean, they can't count to three.
I've been following Cam Newton ever since he played for the Ohio State Buckeyes, my number one college football team.
We got our kick today.
No basket! No basket! No basket! Hoyas win! Hoyas win! Hoyas win!
You got Jared Gordon in the middle of the field talking to everybody. Then when somebody say something to him, he don't even supposed to be on the field.
Are you ready? Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the biggest show in sports.
This isn't Fart Talk Radio or anything. Tuesday. Brandon Lowe Show, 95, the Sports Fox. You're out of work, Charleston. Time to talk some sports. Excited to be here with you today. We've been messing with our new camera all day long, so just ran in just in time to get on the air.
Just in time.
Got the new camera today. We're doing a little test run on our stream, so hopefully got audio over there and stuff, but we thought we got it figured out, so test run. So if you go over to our YouTube stream channel and you can check it out, give us your thoughts. Sounds better. I know that. Got the sound sounding pretty nice. We had a clicking sound last time, but I think the sound's a little better. The video is good too, and hopefully it stays that way. Matlock and I had to figure out the whole thing. Let's go ahead and let's bring in Matlock. Let's bring him in.
Hey, hey!
What up, dog?
Fixing the camera. It's been an all-day affair, but we got it working. Like
it has been an all-day affair, but you know, like I said, I got the camera today. It's nice. It's small. Doesn't take up as much room as the other camera. Thanks to RSN for loaning us that camera, though.
Yes, definitely. Looks good, though, too.
Yeah, it does look good. I think it looks good.
We think.
Hopefully sound's holding over there, too. But, yeah, we had to figure out the sound part. You would think that radio guys could figure out the sound.
You would think. You would think that would be our specialty, the audio, but no.
Matlock's going to check for us, but before that, Matlock, we'll get to breaking news first, but we got a bunch to talk about today. We got Matt Welch, DK Pittsburgh Sports at 5:15. He's going to break down some Mountaineer stuff, Big 12 stuff. I want to talk about Tom Herden getting hired at Texas. Also, the rumors with Holgorsen, with Houston. And we look forward to the Baylor matchup this Saturday, 3:30 on Fox Sports 1. We're going to talk about the West Virginia basketball team later on the show as well, forcing 40 turnovers in 40 minutes, a WVU record, as well as the most turnovers in a Division I game since 2007. Also, we'll look at the College Football Conference Championship game, the lines and the odds on those across championship week this week. College football playoff rankings also should be revealed tonight, I believe. They're going to do those, or they might wait. I think they're doing one. They should this week. Haven't checked, but should have one this week, and then you'll have your final rankings after that. But they might actually, I think this week they might wait until after the championship games. I have to check on that. Maybe someone knows that. I should know that, but I haven't checked up on it. I kind of ignored the college football playoff rankings since West Virginia never got a nod and anywhere near the top 10. Or most of the Big 12, for that matter, outside of Oklahoma. But yeah, it's hard to keep up on how they do these college football playoff rankings and the system. I still haven't caught up with it yet. But we'll look at the college football conference games, bowl projections as well from CBSSports.com. And also the NFL reportedly thinking about eliminating the Thursday night football game. So, yeah, predicting Tuesday's college football playoff top 25 rankings for week 14. So they will have some rankings tonight. I figured they would. I always forget if they wait that last week. You would think they would wait after the championship games. I might be wrong about it, but I don't know. But Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, Washington right there in the top 4 right now. Michigan and Wisconsin at that 5 and 6. You could potentially have multiple Big Ten teams in that playoff spot, especially if Clemson slips up in the ACC championship game. But we'll go through all that stuff and our Let's Get Weird news as well. Let's go ahead and get into our breaking news.
It's time for breaking news and sports, but it's still sports and news. From the Brandon Lowe Show newsroom, I'm Brandon Lowe, and here is the news and sports That's still sports and news.
All right, news and sports. Sports and still news. Monday Night Football last night. Aaron Rodgers, Packers, Carson Wentz, and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles, the top defense in NFL. And Aaron Rodgers has been struggling as of late with the Green Bay Packers and their offense, but he's hit a nice little streak, looking like the old Aaron Rodgers a couple weeks. But last night, 30 for 39, 313 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was 8 of 9 on third down. They converted 10 of 14 third downs against the Eagles' defense. Pretty impressive, considering everybody's kind of piled on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers as of late. And everybody kind of jumped on the Carson Wentz train as well once he started winning a couple ball games for the Eagles. A lot of people weren't sure about Carson Wentz's ability to be an NFL quarterback. Some people thought that he could be the next Tom Brady or something like that. But, yeah, I think the Eagles are probably – next year I think the Eagles will have a tremendous year. You know, the NFC East is a tough division anyway in the NFL, but Packers win 27-13. Rodgers just looked phenomenal in that game. So, all right, Michigan fined $10,000 for Jim Harbaugh's criticism of officiating at Ohio State. As you know, Michigan coach was upset with a number of calls in the game, most notably the 15-yard penalty he was given for a sideline tantrum. And the first down given to J.T. Barrett on the controversial 4th and 1 play that kept the Buckeyes' double overtime drive alive. You kind of knew this was coming. Coaches speaking out in the media, especially talking about officials and officiating in ball games. Of course, you're going to hear something from the conference. You're going to get some type of fine, some type of punishment. You kind of expected this to happen. Coach Harbaugh, though, he's just a tremendous coach. He's passionate about Michigan. He just loves Michigan. He's a Michigan guy. So, I love the move by Harbaugh, but at the same time, do we have PR Ninja loaded up? Can we get the PR Ninja for Harbaugh?
The PR Ninja.
Sometimes if only coaches and players had that PR Ninja. Just waiting in the darkness and the mist. Just waiting for you to say something that you're not supposed to say. Just taking care of business before you say anything you might regret or your checkbook. Big Ten office today issued a public reprimand of Michigan football coach Jim Harbaugh, if you're just tuning in, violating the Big Ten sportsmanship policy. Didn't know they had those. Sportsmanship policy? I don't know if you can necessarily say it's bad sportsmanship from a coach that's upset with calls from an official. Now, if he went out there and said something to a player of Ohio State, that might be considered bad sportsmanship. I mean, I'm not sure if that's bad sportsmanship. I'm not even sure. I don't understand why Harbaugh got fined for throwing his play sheet. That's pretty crazy, right? Emotion is a part of the game, correct? In football, everybody shows emotion. That's like if fans did something. 15 yards on the fans. They're upset over the call.
But I think he got hit with, like, the most expensive littering charge you've ever seen, right?
Well, he got $10,000 for his comments after that we played yesterday, where he said it was pretty much like Bush League officiating.
And throwing that stuff down probably didn't help.
Yeah. Which he shouldn't have been penalized for that anyway. It's showing emotion, man. The guy just didn't like the call. He didn't like what was going on in the game. Now, doing a tantrum doesn't show your players anything. Crying like a baby about a game that's not being a leader. But it's a passionate game. It's Ohio State and Michigan. It's the first time these two teams ever went to overtime. A lot at stake. All right, moving over to the NFL, Kiko Alonso says Colin Kaepernick's Fidel remarks led to bad blood. Dolphins won Sunday, and so did Kiko Alonso. The linebacker recorded a dozen tackles, interception, and helped bring down 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick short of the goal line on a decisive play. Now, what sparked this was Kaepernick's comments in regards to Fidel Castro. Now, Castro died Friday at the age of 90. And we know what he did with Cuba. We're not to if you've read the history books, you follow history, you don't even have to follow history to know what Fidel Castro was about in Cuba. Not good. Let's just put it that way. What's Kaepernick say about Castro, responsible for Cuba having the highest literacy rate because they invest more in their education system than they do in their prison system, which we do not do here, even though we're fully capable of doing that. At what point does Kaepernick start losing his luster as being a credible and responsible activists. You know, kneeling during the national anthem is one thing, and a lot of people had problems with that. But comparing Cuba and America and Fidel Castro, I'm not sure if that's the right words to use. And of course, Alonzo has, you know, he's quoted in here, the Miami Herald. You two saw what happened in Cuba firsthand. Alonzo said this to his father and me. I didn't, but I do have feelings about it. So there was some bad blood there for me with Kaepernick. Kaepernick just keeps, if anybody was trying to be on Kaepernick's side at this point, he just keeps moving more people that were on his side out of his circle. You can't make comments like that about a guy who ran a country like a tyrant. When has anybody ever said anything that good about Fidel Castro? I'll wait. I mean, come on. When did you lose your luster? Man. All right, my man Pat McAfee, former kicker for West Virginia, punter for the Colts. By the way, he did a stand-up. I love stand-up comedy. I did it for a little bit around here. By the way, check out Dana Carvey's new stand-up on Netflix. Outstanding. I mean, completely. My wife and I were checking out last night. It's great. Check it out. If you're bored, Netflix and chill, watch some Dana Carvey. It's great. Sets the mood.
Jeez.
But Pat McAfee, Browns receiver Terrell Pryor, former quarterback Terrell Pryor of Ohio State, and a little bit for the Oakland Raiders, now a wide receiver for the Browns. So McAfee pulled off this fake punt against the Steelers last week, or on Thanksgiving. And he threw, I think, a 35-yard touchdown, or 35-yard gain in first down on 4th and 6. And Pat McAfee did the Conor McGregor strut down the field. I don't know if you see what Conor McGregor does after he wins, but he does a nice little strut across the octagon. It's fun to watch. Well, Pat McAfee did the same thing after he completed the play. Terrell Pryor saw this, tweeted out, Colts punter watching at Marquette King film, which is Oakland's punter. So McAfee comes back on Twitter and says, "Child, please, I've been doing this since you were still a quarterback." By the way, before you start running your mouth on Twitter, if you're Terrell Pryor, your team might want to win a game. You're playing for the Browns. I mean, he could have just put, "You're playing for Cleveland." That would have been a joke within itself. All right, let's take a break. Matlock said YouTube stream is going pretty well, right? Sounds good?
It sounds good. Looks even better.
All right, it's just a test run, but if you so happen to go over to our YouTube channel, check it out. You can hear the interview with Matt Welch coming up after this break. DK Pittsburgh Sports, talking some Mountaineers, Big 12, all kinds of good stuff. You can call the show 304-344-9704. This is the Brandon Lowe Show, 95 The Sports Fox.
You're listening to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox. Be a part of the show. Let the Valley hear your opinion.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
On the top sports stories, locally or nationally. On The Brandon Lowe Show, call 304-344-9704.
Bring on our guest. He's assistant coach, Fort Wayne Macedons, Mark Downey. What's up, Coach?
Not much, Brandon. How are you guys doing today?
I just want to congratulate you and your staff and your players on a tremendous win over a very good Indiana team.
Thank you. It was huge for our guys and our program and the school and the city. It really was. It was a great event, a great night, probably one of the biggest events in our school history, and a great success.
Listen to the Brandon Lowe Show weeknights at 5 on 95 The Sports Fox.
This is the Dan Patrick Show.
I just like to say that y'all rock, man.
Ty Dunn is a feature writer for Bleacher Report. He wrote a profile on Aaron Rodgers today. I guess it's open season now on Aaron Rodgers. You know, everybody waits for the one thing to be said about somebody, and then it feels like everybody else can pile on if they want to. And the only reason why I bring this up is that it feels like Rodgers is not himself.
Dan Patrick.
Mornings, 9 to noon on 95 The Sports Fox.
Follow the show on Twitter at WBES Brandon Lowe. You can also listen to The Brandon Lowe Show on your TuneIn app or at 95thesportsfox.com. Now, back to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
Welcome back, Brandon Lowe Show, 95 The Sports Fox. Take us on the go at 95thesportsfox.com. Tune in app at simulcast, rcnsports.com. If you so happen to go to the YouTube channel, we're over there now. Got that up. Some little engineering work today.
A little bit.
All right, let's bring on our guest, Matt Welch, DK Pittsburgh Sports. What's up, brother?
Not much, man. How you guys doing?
Good, dude. Before, as usual, as we talk about some Mountaineer stuff, I want to get into some of this Big 12 news. Obviously, big news out of Texas. Tom Herman's hired as the next coach at the University of Texas football. Charlie Strong is out. We kind of expected Charlie Strong to be fired, especially after losing to Kansas for the first time since 1938. Didn't cut it against TCU. That was the final kind of stake through the heart. Tom Herman, it's going to cost Texas $19 million because you look at Charlie Strong's deal, $10.2 million, assistants $6.3, and then Tom Herman's buyout, $2.5, plus Herman just agreed to, I think, $5 or $6 million or something like that. Was it worth the money for Texas?
I think we'll see. It's hard to get guys to come in there and expect results right away, but that's what Texas does. They expected the same thing from Charlie Strong, so we'll know in a couple of years whether or not it's going to pay off. I want to see exactly what he thinks happened during those losses while he was at Houston. So, big losses toward the end of his career there that weren't supposed to happen. I mean, they were supposed to be a team that had a chance of almost maybe going undefeated, shocking a couple people this year. Then they kind of fell off the face of the earth there during the middle of the season. So we'll see if he pays off or not.
Something I said, too, would have been a big turn of events. When the Big 12 was looking to expand, well, they said they were going to expand, and then they backed out, didn't pick anybody up, and didn't expand to 12 teams. I feel like, honestly, that if Houston did get in the Big 12, I think Tom Herman would have stayed in Houston.
Yeah, I think you're right, too, and I think that's kind of what he was waiting for. I know there was talk, like you said, when they were trying to expand of him, potential landing spots for him, maybe LSU, things like that. And then they were talking about how they weren't going to expand and Houston wasn't going to be able to join the Big 12, and that probably kind of pushed him to say, okay, I'm going to actively pursue these things or have my people pursue these things, however they want to phrase it, things like that. But, yeah, I absolutely think Tom Herman probably stays at Houston if they do join the Big 12.
Let's move over to that. University of Houston football job now open. A couple coaches on that short list, even Mike Leach. They're even talking about now Dana Holgorsen. I've heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard there is already some type of deal of an extension in principle with Holgorsen. Sometimes supposed to be announced maybe after the Baylor game, before the bowl game. Is it crazy to think that Holgorsen could leave West Virginia for Houston? And at this point, do you think the extension is possible for West Virginia?
I think it's absolutely nuts to think Holgorsen would leave and go to Houston. Not to say that Houston would be a bad job, but for him, I think it's just a step down. Going to a team who's not yet in the Power 5 conference. He's already taken a team into the Big 12 and saw the lumps that you have to take of doing that, and I don't think he's ready to do that anytime soon. I'm not sure he has enough hair left to take a position like that and do something. But, yeah, I honestly do think there's probably a contract extension in the works. I know Shane Lyons talked to us about not mentioning that until after the season's over. So, yeah, you could probably expect that either after the Baylor game or obviously after the bowl game. But I do think there's probably one in the works. And I think it's well-deserved. I think he'll want to stick around for a while. He's got a good coaching staff. He's recruiting the right kids. I think West Virginia has a good chance to be successful for the next couple of years.
Here's something that a lot of people aren't talking about. Maybe they are a little bit, but could there be a possibility of Art Browse returning back to Houston? He's a guy that's looking to get back in coaching immediately. He's not going to get the Power 5 job unless maybe someone takes a risk on him, an offensive coordinator. Could we see Art Browse go back to Houston, become the Houston coach, see the assistants from Baylor head over to Houston as well, and could be a springboard back into the Power 5 eventually?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. He obviously knows how to recruit in Texas and manage a Texas school team as far as football goes. So, yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. I'm sure he's looking to get back out there, and he'll probably delve right into the highest job available, I'm sure, and probably throw his hat to a bunch of rings there.
Let's move over to West Virginia. Of course, a big game to finish the season. They got Baylor coming to town. But first, I want to talk about how they bounced back over the past that Oklahoma loss. We talked about this leading up to the Iowa State game. West Virginia did a great job of not letting that Oklahoma game beat them twice.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely some resolve there after those guys. So I mentioned that to you last week, just to how these guys weren't really letting it affect them. They have bigger things to play for. It's just kind of moving down the list to the next goal, and you could definitely see that against Iowa State.
Martell Pettaway, they burned the red shirt for him because of some of the injuries at tailback. You had Shell still hampering the ankle. Crawford, I don't know what's going on there. I'm not sure if you have a report on that. But Martell Pettaway just looked great. 30 carries, 181 yards, 1 touchdown. Is this because of Iowa State's defense, or is this something we're going to see more of this in the future?
I absolutely think you're going to see more of it in the future. And I was actually just talking to someone about it today. And just having seen all 4 running backs live and in person, seeing what they're able to do against different kinds of defenses, I think Pettaway has looked the best out of all 4 of them. I mean, I know obviously small sample size, but man, that kid just looked good. He was running kids over. He was running away from people. He would have had close to 200 yards, probably over 200, if he didn't have 3 or 4 holding calls come back against the offensive line and things like that. So he definitely looked impressive. And as far as Justin Crawford goes, he was hitting the kneecap against Iowa State, and his whole leg just kind of tightened up. But he told Coach Cedar after the game that everything will be fine and he will be back. Russell Shell just has that nagging high ankle sprain. And once you get those, you can be shelved up for a couple of weeks, and obviously he has been. So I think going with Kenny McCoy, just the nagging, that shoulder injury that he actually hurt early in the year. It's been the same shoulder that's kind of bothering him. Obviously, he took that hard hit late in the season, too. So I think you'll see a heavy dose of all 4 running backs on Saturday. And then definitely look forward to seeing a lot more of Pettaway next year and the years to come.
Marcus Sims, his first reception was a 48-yard touchdown, which, by the way, Howard's arm just looked impressive, and Howard moved over to now 3rd all-time offensive yards at WVU, which is also impressive. But Marcus Sims, I saw a lot of people talk about on Facebook that they couldn't wait for this kid to really break out at WVU.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't really been given much of the opportunity. It's not really saying anything about him. It's the guys in front of him. I mean, Karan, before he goes down with that injury, has just been playing really well. I think 5 of his last games, he's had double-digit yards per catch average. He's had a touchdown in the last 3 games. So playing behind him is no slight to Marcus Sims. But you tell the first play he goes in there, actually second play he's in there, first target, the 48-yard touchdown catch, that wasn't easy. So he's definitely ready to play. He shows that he's got some good skills. And Howard's not afraid to go to him. So that's good for his confidence and good for both of them just to add another weapon.
Over on defense, Rasul Douglas, who I just keep talking about every single week and made multiple plays in Iowa State game as well, I certainly see a bright future in the NFL for that kid.
Yeah, I mean, he's just unbelievable. That's the word Tony Gibson used for him. He makes the plays when he needs to make plays, and you can't ask for much more out of a defender. I know a lot of people are talking about, well, how does he have 8 interceptions? He must not be that great. They're still throwing at him, but at the same time, I mean, quarterbacks keep trying him, and he keeps shutting them down. So you can't fault him for the quarterback still throwing the ball at him. I mean, if they're going to be dumb enough to throw it his way, he's going to take it. And there's been a few interceptions this year where the receiver in front of him has actually caught it, and he's just ripped it right out of their hands and taken it back. So the kid fights. He comes from junior college. He's got a storied background to where he just doesn't want to give up. He's definitely showing that on the field.
Let's talk about Baylor real quick before I let you off the line. Obviously, we got Baylor 3:30 this Saturday. Fox Sports 1. They started 6-0. They lost 5 straight. They claim that they're bowl eligible, so they are going to take a bowl bid, is what Mack Rhodes said. Tough sledding for Grove. I mean, we kind of expected this, taking a job like this with everything around this school. He's already saying that he's not going to be in the running to be the head coach. We kind of expected that. Signed an 8-month contract. He just basically says this program needs a fresh start, as we probably can agree to. What should we expect out of this Baylor program this Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, they're a team that, despite that 5-game losing streak, I mean, they're not ready to give up yet. I mean, they've been through a lot, obviously, this year, and I think that's where Grove comes in. I mean, he's a guy who is kind of an ultimate motivator, and he tries to get guys to see the bright side and everything. And I think, if nothing else, the history just between Baylor and West Virginia, you go back to that first time they both played each other in the Big 12. It was West Virginia's first Big 12 game, and they put up about 130 points combined. 2 big wins for Baylor and Waco, a couple big wins for West Virginia and Morgantown. So there's plenty of history to get the guys up to play for. And I'm sure they want to end their regular season with a win, especially how everything turned out so far for them.
All right, he's Matt Welch, DK Pittsburgh Sports. Mr. Welch, always appreciate you on the show, and we'll talk to you next week, brother.
All right, sounds good, man. Appreciate it.
All right, Matt Welch, DK Pittsburgh Sports. You can check it out, dkpittsburghsports.com. He writes a lot of great stuff over there. WVU beat writer. And I'm sure this interview will be up over at their site this evening. If you do miss this live, if you just caught us at the tail end, also on our podcast at 95thesportsfox.com. All right, let's take a break. You can call the show 304-344-9704. Take us on the go at 95thesportsfox.com. Tune in app and simulcast, rcnsports.com. Get back. We'll take a look at these college football conference championship games, lines and odds, also bowl projections. Also want to mention West Virginia basketball, too. Man, nice performance last night. Brandon Lowe Show, 95 Sports Fox.
You're listening to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox. Be a part of the show. Let the Valley hear your opinion.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
On the top sports stories, locally or nationally, on The Brandon Lowe Show. Call 304-344-9704.
Jim Rome, only on CBS Sports Radio.
Dave Roberts joining us. What's it like to hear your name called as the National League Manager of the Year?
When you hear your name in that context and you know that the manager that preceded you, it's a long, illustrious list. Just proud of the way that our guys competed and played and trying to continue to build the culture and play the game the Dodger way. Romy, it's humbling, and I know that's a trite word, but I just can't find anything else to say. I'm just humbled.
The Jim Rome Show, noon to 3 on 95 The Sports Fox.
Show to this is J Moore Sports.
Yeah! Why is the NFL so insistent on exporting NFL football to a foreign country? The answer is money. Money. But if you want to export a product, make sure the place you're exporting it needs it, one, wants it, second, needs it, third. The country of England and the city of London, they don't need NFL football. They don't care.
J Moore Sports.
Afternoons at 3 on 95 The Sports Fox.
Follow the show on Twitter at WBES Brandon Lowe. You can also listen to The Brandon Lowe Show on your TuneIn app or at 95thesportsfox.com. Now, back to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
All right, don't forget as well, tomorrow we're going to be live at Eagles Nest, a Little Creek golf course, Little Creek Park up there. Beautiful Little Creek golf. Why'd I mess that up? Golf course up there.
You had it.
I don't know what I was doing. Live shows. But anyway, we're going to be live at Eagles Nest up there. We're going to have the coach of Marshall's hockey team up there with me, the director of the Memorial Ice Arena here in South Charleston as well, talking about those big matchups of WVU and Marshall and hockey taking place Saturday and Sunday. Admission for those games are just $10, so you get in for both games, $10. Pretty much doubleheader, right? Saturday and Sunday. Always hear it's a great atmosphere there, so we'll be live up at Eagles Nest, and but we'll do business as usual. You can take your phone calls and such. I think Matlock gets it right this time.
Don't blame me.
I'm just playing. Matlock does a terrific job getting all your phone calls on the line.
Thank you, Brandon.
I think Bobby Johnson, by the way, who was supposed to have his eyebrows shaved off today, supposedly had to work out of nowhere today.
Convenient, Bobby.
Also, last night, he told me on Facebook that his family, I guess they do Christmas photos or whatnot. Most people do those around the holidays. He didn't mention that before, though, but apparently his wife said that he couldn't have his eyebrow shaved off until the Christmas photos were done.
Why not?
I told him that he should get his eyebrows shaved off, have the pictures with his family, and Ryan should get a copy of that because Ryan. Now, here's the thing, too, though. Maybe we should wait until after the Super 6 because even though we think Ryan has a shoe-in to win this, Richard on Facebook this morning also said that he had a couple in the running as well. Now, Ryan had all of the teams in Super 6, so I'm not sure if anybody can beat Ryan. Now, we're not going to beat Ryan because our brackets are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Now, we're not going to be in last place.
Which is all I'm concerned about.
Which I don't care.
Yeah.
Now, the winner gets to actually shave the loser's eyebrow off. In this case, it's going to be Bobby. It doesn't matter. I don't know. He's just buying time or whatnot, but that's 3 excuses so far.
I feel like I won just because I don't have to shave my eyebrow.
I was actually hoping that swimming in the Canal River would have won.
Oh, that'd be fun. Nice, refreshing dip in that.
I was really hoping for that. I really was. But eyebrows good, too. I mean, I'm going to I hope he goes through with it because I'm absolutely going to lose it.
Yeah.
I want to do it at the beginning of the show, too, because I want to sit here with him throughout the show with one eyebrow.
Just so when you look over at him, you can just get a good chuckle.
Absolutely. I don't even know how we're going to get through a show that day.
It would be hard. It would be really hard.
That's so awesome, man. All right, West Virginia basketball team played last night. They took on Manhattan, and they forced 40 turnovers in 40 minutes. That's absolutely incredible. If you really think about that, that's a turnover a minute.
It's like video game numbers right there.
It's like they're playing their own NBA Jam or something, where you can push guys out of the way, take the ball, and slam it. But, this is the thing, not to take anything away from West Virginia. The one thing that, like I said before, is we love to see them turn other teams over, okay? They look great on defense. Obviously, that's the name of the game. In the past 3 years, Huggins has used his press, produced turnovers in an attempt to create these easy baskets. That's the philosophy. Press Virginia, right? I got one of the shirts at the house. It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch when it's working. It's one of those things where it's very similar to Tony Gibson's defense on the Mountaineer football team. When we blitz and we bring these heavy blitzes and we play man-to-man outside, you're taking a risk of the quarterback throwing a ball up and a guy to be wide open downfield. You're putting a lot of trust in your wide receivers. Now, it's pretty much the same philosophy in basketball because you're basically having this press the whole time. And if they have good guard play and they can pass your press, they're getting easy baskets at the other end. It's pretty much the same thing. If you notice when we play Kentucky, which I'm sorry to bring this up, but when we played Kentucky 2 years ago, I think now, in the NCAA tournament where they just absolutely blew the doors off of us in the Sweet 16, if you notice Kentucky's guard play, one of the best every year in the country, they just passed right past us and had dunks all day long. And that's kind of the tough part. But it's fun to watch, and it's impressive to see these numbers. I mean, you look at it, Mountaineers creating turnovers on 32.5% of their opponent's possessions, even before they tipped off this game. 32.5%. It spiked now to 35, so 35%. Last year they led the nation, I believe, with 28%, first nationally. And it got them far. I mean, they got in the Big 12 tournament. They had a chance to win the Big 12 tournament championship. They finished second overall in the Big 12 standings. They almost beat Kansas twice and dethroned Kansas. But the unfortunate part about that, too, if you look at the other side of West Virginia, we turn the ball over a lot, too. So when we're creating turnovers, we're giving the ball right back. That was really the problem in the Temple game, too, which, by the way, I don't think West Virginia should have dropped as badly as they did losing to Temple. Now, even though Temple lost to New Hampshire and West Virginia just destroyed New Hampshire, Temple's a lot better than what I think experts are giving them credit for. But what Temple did, and what a lot of coaches will see on film, is they forced West Virginia to play half-court defense and half-court offense. Most importantly, half-court offense. West Virginia is still trying to find their half-court offense. You can ask anybody that, hey, what's the worst thing that you see with this basketball squad? What's the worst thing you've seen in the past 3 years as they've developed this press? Half-court offense. And the reason why, too, is Huggins, historically, is recruiting. It's not that he's not recruiting guys that can't shoot. He is. But his system, he doesn't have a lot of guys that need to shoot the three-point shot. Huggins likes to work the ball and get the best possible shot, as most coaches do, but that's his system. So if you force him in a half-court offensive situation and you play zone, as they like to do, they know if they force us in a zone, they want us to force up a long-range shot so they can get the rebound. As long as West Virginia is not scoring, they can't set their press up. So if you force them to half court, force them in some bad shots, now you can run with the ball and you never have to face their press for the most of the game. And that's exactly what Temple did. It's not that Temple's some elite team. They probably won't even make the tournament. Now, they'll do pretty well, but they did a great job with strategy and recognizing what they needed to do against a better and more talented Mountaineer team, a more experienced team. So if you're going against West Virginia, now they're going to take on Virginia this Saturday, 2 p.m. Virginia's ranked 6th in the country. You look at this Virginia team, they've only turned the ball over 14.3% of their possessions. They're ranked 12th nationally as far as keeping the ball in their hands. So if West Virginia if they can't develop half-court offense in this game, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. They're going to be in a lot of trouble. Because of Virginia, because of their guard play. Now, when a team can take care of the ball like they do, and Virginia doesn't face this type of pressure, nobody really does. No one practices against it. You can't really emulate it at all unless you play against it all the time. But the reason why Virginia is so good with their possessions, they'll turn the ball over because they have great guard play. And that is the kryptonite to the press. And the thing that I think teams don't realize, what you learn, when I played youth basketball, you were always taught, don't dribble through a press, you pass through a press. You pass. You find the best guy. You move the ball. Get up the court quickly with your pass. And it's crazy that this press is so ruthless that it gets you out of your psyche, your mental game. You don't think, and you just throw the ball. Or you try to dribble through two guys, you lose the ball, they catch it, and they got an easy layup. They psych you out. It's not necessarily, not just their aggressive nature, but they also psych you out. And it's exactly right, Matlock. It's Gibson's defense in football. He's bringing pressure from all different angles, and he's going to put your quarterback in the most uncomfortable situation to force him into mistakes. It's the same thing. But, again, if they can beat that, the payoff for the opposing team is unfortunate for West Virginia, whether it's football and Gibson's defense or it's Huggins' press. But that's the gamble they're willing to take, because a large percentage of the time, it's working. It's what you do. It's the game plan. It's what your players are coached to do. Force turnovers, play tight defense, psych the other team out. Wear them out, too. That's what the press does, too. If you're a team going against West Virginia's press, you have to be completely conditioned or have a lot of depth. West Virginia has. But I'm really interested to see this matchup because we played them pretty well last year. And I'm pretty interested. I mean, last year I think we were up by, 10 points or something like at halftime. And then they came back and won. But that's one thing that Virginia has, too, is they have some guards that can shoot. That's the thing. If this game gets forced like they did in the second half of the game last year into a half-court game, if you shrink the court on West Virginia, it's tough. I mean, it's really tough to watch. But I do like Issa Ahmad. He's really becoming aggressive. He's becoming in his own. I said it to Matt Welch before on the show, that Issa Ahmad, I think, has become extremely aggressive. I think it was Jeff Pasta said it reminds him a lot of Devin Ebanks when he was there with that Final Four team. Very similar body style, very similar as far as taking it to the basket, very similar range as far as shooting from the outside. It's very similar, which makes sense. Huggins usually recruits the same type of players in different positions. But I think this West Virginia team, it's one of those teams that you don't know how special they can be just yet. You know, most of these teams, you watch them, you know, like the Dukes and the Kentuckys and the North Carolina and the Kansas, you can kind of figure out they're going to have a pretty good season. But West Virginia, you don't know what they are yet because they've beaten up on some smaller schools. They lost to Temple. This will certainly tell us where they're at in the beginning of the season. Not just their team, but where they're at mentally as far as can they get the big win early in the season. Because this is a huge early resume-building win here if they can pull this off. And that game, like I said, 2 p.m., you can catch it on Saturday. ESPNU is going to be carrying the game, which I think is crazy. This should be on ESPN. But, you know, that's why ESPN's losing subscribers. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I'm going to talk some college football conference championship game lines, odds, bowl projections. I'll tell you where they're projecting West Virginia to play and also their opponent. And we'll also talk about this Thursday night football in the NFL. They're thinking of getting rid of Thursday night football. We'll be back after the short break. Brandon Lowe Show, 95 to Sports Fox.
You're listening to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox. Be a part of the show. Let the Valley hear your opinion.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
On the top sports stories, locally or nationally. On The Brandon Lowe Show, call 304-344-9704.
It's game time on the Thundering Herd IMG Sports Network.
Loading a 360 slam.
IMG presents
One-hand throw.
Marshall University basketball.
On the 27-footer, and he knocks it down. Crowd yells, go, go, go. And he has not missed a shot tonight.
Brought to you by the City of South Charleston, someplace special, and John Sang Ford Lincoln, Premier Lincoln Dealership, Upper River Road, Gallipolis, Ohio.
This is Steve Gorman Sports.
U.S. Soccer fired Jurgen Klinsmann today. Goodbye! Cannot miss the 2018 World Cup. Missing that tournament would be devastating for men's soccer. I was a Klinsmann backer. I loved the hire, and I said, you got to give him time, you got to give him time, you got to give him time. That 4-0 loss to Costa Rica last week, yeah, that did it for me.
Steve Gorman Sports.
Evenings at 6 on 95, the Sports Fox.
Follow the show on Twitter at WBES Brandon Lowe. You can also listen to The Brandon Lowe Show on your TuneIn app or at 95thesportsfox.com. Now, back to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
Again, the West Virginia game against Virginia, 6th-ranked Virginia, Saturday, 2 p.m. on ESPNU. My daughter's birthday. Hopefully the Mountaineers get a nice victory for my daughter, who's turning also 2. Kind of an omen there, right? Hit the X-Files music.
Mountaineers playing at 2. Brandon's daughter's turning 2. Will they win? Tune in.
I love our conspiracy theory moments on the show.
We have a lot.
Another conspiracy theory, not really. Bobby Johnson to show up today.
Will he show up?
All right. Back to business, kids. Oh, I forgot to mention this, too. Basketball Friday night. First broadcast next Friday. That's the 9th of December. It'll run from 9 p.m. till midnight, and those guys do a tremendous job, man. I love bringing those guys on over here at the Sports Fox. All your high school basketball coverage. I can't believe high school basketball is right around the corner. I forgot to mention this. Matlock's hometown women's team, right? Wyoming East, I think they're ranked, what, number 1?
Yeah.
Top of the class?
And by a large margin, yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's good
definitely.
stuff. They had a great season last year, so.
Oh, yeah, go Warriors.
So that's good stuff. So we'll start breaking out high school basketball stuff, too. I can't believe that's right around the corner. This is the best time to host a sports show because I'm going to tell you, folks, summer is brutal. I mean, Matlock and I sit in here, and we're just thinking of things just to talk about. I mean, with the NFL going, college football, college basketball, now high school basketball, after all that stuff, and then NBA playoffs, you got NBA finals, you got NFL playoffs. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. After that, when the summer hits, I mean, I know we acted like we knew what we were doing, but half the time I just didn't. I felt like I was hosting Dateline, NBC, through the summer.
How's that?
I don't know. Every story that we had to talk about included some type of scandal or, I mean, it was just brutal.
Or we were just filling time with the Josh and Johnny show.
Yeah. We were making sketches, which I'm sure everybody appreciated.
Yeah. I loved it.
Which we have to bring back. We have to bring back the Josh and Johnny show.
Oh, yeah. That's not over. Not by a long shot. At some point.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall with Johnny Manziel back in college.
Oh, I wouldn't. That would be an embarrassment.
I would like to see if he's actually doing what he's supposed to be doing at this point. I think it's good for him that he made a change in his life and he's actually going back to get his degree.
Yeah.
But is that why he went back?
And is that what he's doing? I mean, is he really pursuing higher education, or is he just loafing?
He might have just needed his ego stroked some more. Because if you realize his ego got, it got crushed. Whether he had admitted or not, the way he acted with his behavior, with TMZ, the only publication he would talk to, he went from Johnny Football to Johnny Embarrassing, like really quick. And his alcohol problem was something else, which is not any laughing type of matter because it was out of control, the things he was doing. His dad thought he was going to lose his life. So it's good he made that change. I'm not sure if he's kind of fixed that part of his life. I'm not here to judge him, but I'm just saying it's good that he made a decision to maybe make some type of positive change in his life, which is something we kept talking about on the show throughout the summer. Just it's good to see him actually change his environment and go back and maybe possibly finish his degree.
Most definitely, because he was heading towards the gutter, for sure.
He probably slept in a couple gutters.
Yeah,
throughout
I'm sure
the
it probably got that low.
A couple public bathrooms and things of that sort.
Oh, come on.
Johnny, you got to leave now. No
Time
more
to
free
wake
food.
up.
All right. All right, college football conference championship game lines and odds. Starting with the Pac-12 championship game, number 4 Washington versus number 9 Colorado. This is going to be a great one, folks. This will probably be one of the better championship games you're going to watch. I think the Big Ten title game is going to be an actual. I think I'm going to fall asleep watching that. That's going to be a boring, as most Big Ten championship games are, without a Ohio State or Michigan in them. But this Washington-Colorado game is going to be great. Colorado's coming in off 2 impressive wins over Washington State and Utah consecutive weeks. Washington bounced back from its lone loss to USC with dominating wins over Arizona State and Washington State. Huskies are better than a touchdown favorite in this game. I think the Buffaloes are going to do great. I'm actually going to go with Colorado in this game. I just think they've been playing really good. And now, their home games, of course, and most teams in the country obviously play better at home than on the road, but they just play so good this year as a team. I've been impressed. It's historic. The last time they were in a title game, I believe, was in 2005 or 6 when they were in the Big 12. That's the last time Colorado's been in a conference championship game. So that'll be fun to watch. As I mentioned, Big 10, number 6 Wisconsin versus number 8 Penn State. Here's why this doesn't matter either. I mean, it matters because, hey, you're going to be Big 10 champion. Good for you. But the unfortunate part for both these teams is that they're not automatically going to be put in the playoff because they won the Big Ten championship game unless one of these teams scores 100 points. Because Ohio State's automatically going to be put in the playoffs. Sorry to disappoint everybody that roots for Wisconsin and Penn State. You're not going to be in the playoffs unless Clemson somehow manages to poop the bed against Virginia Tech in the ACC title game. Another snoozer in the making. Clemson should be up in that one 42-7 at halftime. That's going to be atrocious. I mean, most of these conference title games are going to be horrible. Alabama and Florida's going to be, they're not going to know what to do. Alabama might actually score 60 like they did against USC in the first game of the season. So I'm looking forward to the Pac-12 title game, not so much the other ones. Now, I am going to be looking forward to what we would call the Big 12 title game. We don't have an actual championship game until next season in Arlington, Texas, by the way. That's going to be spectacular. Not splitting up in divisions isn't spectacular because if you, for instance, this year, if there was a Big 12 title game, we would still play the round-robin schedule, and Oklahoma State and Oklahoma would play this game, and then it would turn right around and play again for the Big 12 championship. Tell me how that makes sense. Great job, Big 12, by not expanding. We really appreciate that. That's great. Can't wait to watch that next year. I mean, here's the thing. What if you're a fan of one of those teams, right? And you get a big win. If you're going to keep the round-robin schedule, just keep it the way it is. Don't have a title game. It doesn't make sense. If you're a fan of one of these teams, and let's say Oklahoma State defeats Oklahoma, right? Let's say we're in the next year. And then they play again for the Big 12 title. And Oklahoma beats Oklahoma State. And now Oklahoma gets a better bowl game. How's that fair? How's that fun for a fan? How could you cheer? Well, we beat them this week, Todd, but next week we got to play them for the real game. Yay! I don't know what's going on, man. Bowl projections, like I mentioned, looking at the playoffs. Top 4, which playoff rankings should be announced tonight at 7 o'clock on ESPN. Peach Bowl and Fiesta Bowl, the locations hosting these college football playoffs. Alabama, this is projected by CBSSports.com. Alabama at the 1, Washington at the 4. And the other one, Clemson and Ohio State. And I tend to think that this is going to stay exactly this way as long as Washington and Clemson don't lose. If they lose, you could potentially see multiple Big Ten teams. Or they might get crazy and let USC in. Who knows? Depends on how much money USC has. That one's for you, Dad. Hit the X-Files music. conspiracy theory.
It all depends on how much money USC has. College football is fake. It's an illusion. It's all about the money and how they can pay these guys off to get into the championship games. College football.
He's not going to like that. I'm going to hear about that tonight. Predictions, Sugar Bowl, Oklahoma and Auburn, Rose Bowl, Wisconsin, Colorado. These are all great games, too. I mean, it's going to, regardless of what happens, we're going to have a ton of great big-time bowl games. Cotton Bowl, Western Michigan, Penn State, that's going to be fun to watch. If that happens, which I think it's going to happen, regardless if Penn State wins the Big Ten Championship, they'll play in the Rose Bowl over in Wisconsin. But if Penn State and Western Michigan play each other in the Cotton Bowl, that's going to be fun because I think Western Michigan could beat them. I've watched Western Michigan 3 times this year, and I've been extremely impressed. And I don't know how that coach hasn't been at all brought up in any type of conversations for that Houston job or any type of Power 5 jobs. He's done a tremendous job with that program. Orange Bowl, Florida State and Michigan. Speaking of Florida State, it's kind of rumored that West Virginia will play in the Russell Athletic Bowl in Orlando, which isn't surprising because Florida, we have a great following in Florida. We have great travel to Florida bowl games. It's been predicted on multiple different sites that it's either going to be Florida State and West Virginia in the Athletic Bowl or possibly this, West Virginia and Virginia Tech. That would be fun. Now, we open the season with Virginia Tech the following season, so I don't know how much that kind of blocks off the luster there with that first game of the season, but it'd be fun. It'd be cool, too, if they brought up the Diamond Trophy, the Black Diamond Trophy for it, too. That'd be fun. All right, let's go to break. When we get back, I'm going to talk about the NFL possibly eliminating the Thursday night football game. Then, of course, we'll have our Let's Get Weird news. Don't forget, we'll be live at Eagles Nest up at Little Creek Golf Course. Excited up there with the Marshall hockey coach, director of the Memorial Ice Arena here in South Charleston. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for that. Back after this short break, our last break, right here on the Brandon Lowe Show, 95 The Sports Fox.
You're listening to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox. Be a part of the show. Let the Valley hear your opinion.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
On the top sports stories, locally or nationally. On The Brandon Lowe Show, call 304-344-9704.
It's high school basketball season, and Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia is bringing you the latest from every corner of the Mountain State.
High school basketball, there are some rivalries tonight.
Join Ryan Epling and Coach Rick Maroon for the most up-to-date scoreboard and much more.
To beat Huntington St. Joe, who is 7-time state champ, just makes that victory so much better.
Join Basketball Friday night beginning December 9th from 9 to midnight on WBES 95 The Sports Fox and online at basketballnight.com.
This is JT the Brick with Tom Looney.
Bruce Arena is the new men's soccer coach for our country. Well, I have too much respect to call him a retread as he's representing our country, but clearly I know that we don't have enough soccer coaches in America. We don't have anybody else other than Bruce Arena to do this again because there's no new young coach who can light a fire.
This is JT the Brick with Tom Looney.
Nights at 8 on 95 The Sports Fox.
Follow the show on Twitter at WBES Brandon Lowe. You can also listen to The Brandon Lowe Show on your TuneIn app or at 95thesportsfox.com. Now, back to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
All right, last segment here on this Tuesday show, 304-344-9704 to call the show. Take us on the go at 95thesportsfox.com, Sal McGass at rsnsports.com. Also, if you've ever missed a show live, you can also go over to 95thesportsfox.com, click BLS Podcast, Monday through Friday, all right there for you on demand. It's free, too. There's not a lot of things free in life anymore.
That's true, man.
So I'm going to promote that. Free, man. Go listen to it. NFL, Thursday Night Football. And this has been brought up, kind of a topic of Thursday Night Football, the lack of numbers. Even Monday Night Football, the lack of numbers. And a lot of that has to do with the primetime stuff, not a lot of primetime matchups. And it's not surprising the NFL's thinking of pulling the cord. I think what's the problem with the NFL is it's just completely oversaturated. Before you only had so many days you got to see and watch football. Now you got Thursday night football, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I mean, it's like every single day you got football. If you're not watching NFL, college has a game on. So it's almost like you've oversaturated the sport, the brand. There's only so much I want to see of the NFL. I don't want to see it, when I go to the bathroom even, there's a TV there showing a game. I don't need that much football. I love football to death, but do we need this much? And do we need to watch the Jaguars take on the Buccaneers on Thursday night? I mean, the Buccaneers are improving, but I'm not that interested. Or the Bengals and Browns. Does anybody care about that game? Now, the unfortunate part about Thursday night football is every team is required to play at least once. So you've completely increased your odds of having a horrible stinker game like the Browns and Bengals. I think what they need to do is, if they're going to do Thursday night and Monday night football and Sunday night football, and I'm not an expert in this scheduling thing, and I'm not sure about all the legal stuff and all that, but much like college football does, they watch how the season goes, and then they start scheduling the games and what they're going to put it on and what network and things of that sort. Instead of going, well, these teams get this game, every team needs to play Thursday night. That's just oversaturation. You're going to set yourself up for failure. Of course, you're not going to have primetime games. So I think that's the problem. And John Madden, during the interview just before Thanksgiving, his comments in regards to Thursday night football, says it just isn't working. Something has to be done about Thursday night football. It just doesn't work. It's not only a fan thing, it's a team thing. It's a safety thing. It's a competitive thing. It just doesn't work. It's true. You used to get excited for Monday Night Football. It was like, oh, it's crazy. NFL during a weekday? Sweet. And they used to actually have announcers I'd like to hear. Announcers that they put on Monday Night Football now, my ears are going to bleed. It's bad enough I got to watch the Jaguars play on Monday Night Football. No more John Madden. They announced John Madden was leaving Monday Night Football, and Al Michaels and all those guys. I can tell you the last time I watched Monday Night Football. They made it exciting. Sunday Night Football, all that stuff, it's just oversaturated. And then plus, they're giving away the red zone stuff for practically free now. So you can watch every game for $9.99 a year. So that's pretty much what's going on. Thursday Night Football, just oversaturation. It's a little too much, right? Too much. It's like you said, or my son said to me, if you eat too many bananas, you might die. I was like, if you eat too much of anything, it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't care how good it tastes, how good it is.
But
you might get sick. Something might happen to you.
Zeke was right. Potassium. He is smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to our Let's Get Weird news.
Let's get weird, buddy. Let's get weird.
News.
Crooks get something they didn't expect unless they were looking for a package of dog poop. A Las Vegas man played a dirty trick on thieves stealing packages in his neighborhood. KSNV-TV reports Eric Snow left a package of you-know-what from his German Shepherd at his doorstep. The 38-year-old Army veteran caught two men on surveillance video driving up to his home to steal the parcel of poo. There's your Let's Get Weird news. Man, you were on par with those sound effects. Remix! All right.
Computer Blue.
All right, we'll be live at Eagles Nest, Little Creek Golf Course in South Charleston. It'll be fun. We have the coach of Marshall's hockey team, director of Memorial Ice Arena in South Charleston. It'll be a good time. So we'll be on at our normal time at 5 o'clock. Matlock, thank you.
No problem, brother.
Thanks to Matt Welch. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Brandon Lowe Show, 95 The Sports Fox. Good night.
In your face, Charlie Murphy. Good. Shoot the J. Shoot it!